Laura Baines right here on France 24. Welcome back, or welcome if you're just joining us. This is the France 24 debate. We're looking at Algeria 50 years after its independence, celebrating the day on July 5th, 1962, when President Ahmed Ben Bella took over officially from the French. With us to talk about it from Algiers, economist, former advisor to President Bouteflika, Malik Sarai, Naji Ben Hassin of the Young Civic Leaders think tank NABNI, Columbia University's Matthew Connolly is also with us in Algiers. He's author of A Diplomatic Revolution, Algeria's Fight for Independence. And here in the studio, we're joined by Pierre Conessa, political scientist, author, and who was born in Algeria and had to leave, you were telling us in part one, at the age of 13.
Yes.
At independence. And Mohammed Hin, linguist and commentator on political affairs based here in Paris. Welcome back to all of you. We were mentioning Independence Day 1962. Just a brief reminder of some of the events that bring us to today. In Algeria, there's always talk about the role of the military. A coup in 1965 that overthrew Algeria's first president. Then, after a general strike in 1988 and elections that led to Islamists set to win after the first round, in 1991 the military stepped in again, canceling the vote. It would be the start of a decade-long civil war, the so-called Blood Years that included 20 years ago the assassination of one of the heroes of independence, Mohammed Boudia, who had been brought in as president as a compromise solution. And today, when you look at those images of 20 years ago, it's still murky. There still aren't many questions. Matthew Connolly, people wonder who done it and why was Boudiaf killed? All right, we seem to have trouble getting through to Matthew Connolly. Apologies for that, but maybe I'll put the question instead to Malik Sarai. The killing of Mohammed Boudiaf, it's just one event, obviously, over the past 20 years, but I mention it because it was also an anniversary. It was nearly 20 years ago today. In your mind, when Algeria looks at its past, it's not just the relationship with the French.
Yeah, the killing about Mohammed Boudiaf is a big loss for Algeria. One of the main reasons, as the people understand that when he comes with a very strong program and a very quick program to to take out over the problem of corruption. And then he found that the system, part of the system was so corrupted, that's why he lost his life. This is what was the main reason. And then also, in terms of institutions, we were under a system who tried to build institutions. We didn't finalize this construction of institution. He tried to change the way of, and he disagreed with the main officer. That's why maybe he lose his life in very short time. Now, once again, we came to France. We are the generation who suffer much from through the French occupation. I lost 33% of my family, for example. I was myself in prison at 14 years old. I was one of the youngest prisoner under the French soldiers. But I accept to discuss with French people. I accept to kiss my friends. I accept to go through the French language. I accept to exchange our views. If they accept to discuss about what in the past and try to get solution, definitely, because our future is together. I see it again. Our future is together. We must really, build a strong bridge between French and Algerian people. I am talking about people. I am not talking about regime, whether in France or in Algeria. We are so near to each other to try to take definitely, this solution about our history, because as far as the people who suffer under the war, under the French occupation still on life, we cannot say we cannot ask French to try to discuss directly this point. We're still there. We still here. We're still in life. So that's why the other side, the new generation,
let me put this question now to
and we must use the best language possible, the best way to to go down the tension and to give to all the two people better communication in terms of
right,
final solution.
Okay, so better bilateral relations. Naji Ben Hassin, we talked in part one about the trouble when it comes to talking about the War of Independence. Is there trouble as well when it comes to talking about the so-called blood years, the Civil War period of the 1990s and the beginning of the 2000 decade?
Frankly, there's debates on this bloody decade, if I can put it. I wouldn't be the best to comment about it because our initiative is really forward-looking. We wanted to use this symbolic date of the 50th anniversary to think about what Algeria could look like in 2020 and what we could propose for that. So we're really forward-looking, and we do not want to have the heavy weight of old ideological debates. But we have this legacy of this rocky history that we had, including the 90s, that we have to take into account when we think about the future. But whether we are free here to speak about the 90s, yes, we are, and you can see debates still now on this period in the press. In fact.
Let me ask you this question, Mohammed Need. When the Arab Spring broke out, it was events that took place. Obviously, it was that shopkeeper in Tunisia. But at the very same time, there were also events taking place in Algeria. They were the two countries, people don't tend to forget this at the very beginning, yes, where there was social protest. Why did the social protest lead to the overthrow of President Ben Ali in Tunisia, but in Algeria, it's still the status quo?
The problem is that the Algerian, what they propose is telling that we got yet our spring, and it was in 88. And after this, our spring, we got a bloody decade. So even you find their comments on the internet telling that we get our spring. But the problem is that the military and the security act or machine in Algeria is so sophisticated, so huge, and there is a kind of fear in Algeria of the return of blood, that they know that if they are going to get a peaceful demonstration to ask for their rights, for change, for freedom, for dignity, they get the Syrian scenario or they get the Libyan scenario. So there is a kind of traumatism for the Algerian people. They are afraid of acting. However, I think that the regime is not measuring the danger of what he's doing, that if he do not proceed now, immediately, in building something new, in giving a real deep change for the Algerian, like the Moroccan, like the Tunisian, or like the others, he risks a huge implosion in the dislocation of all the society with all the risks for all the region, either in France or in Tunisia or in Morocco.
Naji Ben Hassin, you mentioned how your association is forward-looking. You're not trying to stir up painful memories of the past. When you see, in light of what Mohammed Need just said, for instance, that small and medium-sized businesses published a letter in the press this Thursday to the President Bouteflika, urging him to help them revive the economy by easing red tape and bureaucracy and getting rid of corruption. How far are Algerians willing to press their case when there is this fear of pushing things too far, as described by Mohammed Need?
Well, in terms of reducing red tape and making for a business environment, there's still that pro-growth. There's still so much to be done. That's really an area where Algeria could catch up with what other countries in the region or outside have done. And we really think that growth could spur by at least simplifying the environment that face businesses. Now, most small entrepreneurs, small businesses suffer from day-to-day red tape, day-to-day harassment from the public administration, and that could be solved, and that could bring economic gains in the very short term. Now, there's big enterprises and there's big public contracts that could, and public procurement issues that pose problems. And yes, there is issues of lack of competition.
But how far are you willing to go to
corruption.
press your case, is my question.
We in terms of saying what is needed, we can go as far as what we think is right. If you go on netme.org, you'll find that what we propose in terms of governance reforms, in terms of cutting red tape, in terms of reducing opportunities for corruption, including public procurement contracts, reducing arbitrariness. In terms of what we can propose, we're going as far as what we think is right. We have no ideological barriers or censorship inside NetMe on what we say, and we're transparent. We publish it on the web, on the internet, and it's open to comment for Algerians or others. So no, we're going as far as we want in terms of what we propose. Now the question is what is feasible and what will the government do to reduce red tape, to reduce corruption, to increase competition, to open up for investment. That's another question, and that is beyond us because we're not in power, of course.
Of course. Matthew Connolly, your thoughts on the Arab Spring and the wariness that Mohammed Need described about pushing it too far in a place like Algeria?
Yeah, that's a very common feeling here. And in fact, if you speak to people here, it's not just the events in Cairo that they talk about, and Tunisia and so on. They have a very interesting point of view about Libya. For many of them, seeing the way NATO warplanes overthrew a government in Libya unfortunately brings back sad memories, of bitter memories of the Algerian war for independence, when, the feeling is here that it was NATO that was supporting France in its fight to keep Algérie française. And so, if you talk to people here, you find that there's a lot of wariness, not just with the idea of, popular uprising that would probably lead to a bloodbath, but also the way it might lead to the incursion, the intervention of outside powers, which nobody wants.
Pierre Connaissant?
I think that one of the most important points when you regard Algerian affairs is when you talk about the Arab Spring, is that, Algeria has been involved in a very deep black years of civil war, which means that they are very careful about any kind of demonstration which could become violent, etc. So that bloody memory, it's very important to explain that you have some demonstration somewhere and then and there, mainly focused on destruction of state building, police station, city house, etc., which means that in a way, these demonstrations are rejecting, the authorities, but they are quite careful about the possibility of a new civil war. That's why the main difference, I think, when you regard Tunisia, Morocco, and Libya, etc.
Malik Sarai, the president is effectively, to a certain degree, a lame duck president. Abdelaziz Bouteflika is 75 years old. He's had health problems in the past. Do you fear that there could be big political tension after he leaves office?
Unfortunately, yes, because we are not well prepared. Whatever our institution now, they are, we can say they are strong, but we don't have enough political staff and very high way. Level and be with a strategy on long term. That's why we, as the gentleman said, Algeria during the what we had as example in '88, and then the 10 years of black 10 years, no one could accept again the same problem could happen. And also what's happening in Libya, no one could accept what's happening in Libya could happen in Algeria. That's why Algeria is completely different. But we are wondering what will happen after the mandate of Mr. Bouteflika, because once again I said we don't have enough staff, political staff, very high level to take over. That's why the army, secretly or confidentially, they are working for the stability of the country, not only protecting the country, but also for the stability. The other side, when, for example, during the last elections, when the the Islamic Party tried to get some, a certain percentage. They didn't get success because based on what we have as problems in the past, they cannot get much. We are looking, once again, I repeat, we are looking for modern society. We are looking how to go, to Europeans' way, how to learn from the European management, how to take advantage of the high technology of Europeans, how to get more and more, visit as tourists from Europeans. That's why the main problem is now is how to communicate better with the young people, because the danger, if there is danger, will come from these young people who could not understand what's going on, because we have a lot of money. We are going to get about at the end of the year more than $200 billion, but we are spending much to keep social peace. We cannot continue to spend a lot of money like that. We have to find a better way of management, and we have to find a better way of cooperation with the nation who are near to us, like France, Italy, Spain, and why not also, Germany and British, including also we added the Moroccan and Tunisia. The problems will come from the young people, not from the old people. Once again, during the election, the first who elect are the old people elect the FLN, but the young people they are questioning where we are going the next day.
And a lot of them abstained. Malik Sarai, I want to thank you for joining us from Algiers. I also want to thank for joining from Algiers Naji Ben Hassin and Matthew Connolly, and for being with us here in our studios in Paris. Pierre Conessa and Mohammed Mead, thank you for being with us. Thank you for joining us here in the France 24 debate. Stay with us. Coming up next, business. Catherine Nicholson has all the day's news.